Man, it's been a long time since I turned on this camera. But what's going on YouTube is O'Neal. It's been a minute, I ain't gonna lie. We got the little mic today. Oh, y'all can see the blue Yeti in the back, but we ain't gonna use that today because I ain't set it up yet. This is gonna be a complete rebranding of my channel. What this channel is not gonna focus on is finances, controversial topic, and we're gonna throw some reaction videos in there. We may also hop into other avenues. I'm not too sure yet, but we'll let that play out as the time goes on. If by the end of this video, anything in this video is useful, helpful, or helps you out, helps another person out, go ahead and hit that like button for the algorithm. Hit that subscribe button, turn on post bell notification, and yeah, just help your boy out. As you guys can see by the title of the video, I managed to pay off $30,000 in debt in a 5-month time frame. Now, I know some of y'all may wonder, like, $30,000 in debt? You're 24 years old, and how did you manage to build up $24,000 in debt? Trust me when I tell you, it's possible. Especially, if you're not managing your money right and you're taking a lot of missteps and you don't got the proper guidance. So, yeah, it happens. But I managed to pay it off. So, I'm going to show you guys how I managed to do it. Remember, this video is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. This is just me displaying and showing you guys how I managed to pay it off. So you can take from the video what you will, but this is just me doing it. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm gonna show you guys the receipts. Yeah, I'm gonna put it up on the screen. Probably put it right here. All my credit cards that I had, what the numbers were. But yeah, as I was saying, I was pretty good at managing money, so I had a couple different credit cards. But what the mistake I made was purchasing more on my credit cards than I actually could afford with the income that I had at the time. So when I moved down to Atlanta, my income had decreased because the pay scale down there is different than it is in New York. That's where I'm from. I'm from Brooklyn, New York. So I had about $30,000 revolving around these different cards, and yeah, it just got out of hand real quick. Living on my own for the first time, and I didn't really know what was gonna happen until it happened, like how things snowballed out of my control, not to mention having the wrong person with me during that process. So the first step that I took to paying this debt off was actually creating a plan. You're not going to be able to pay it off if you don't create a plan first. The plan that I created was right here in my phone. What actually consisted of my budget plan was each card that I had, how much debt was on each card, and the interest rates. This is very important, guys. You got to have your interest rates on each card so you know which ones to pay off first. So I had my interest rates, I had those lined up, added up the total amount. I'm like, okay, this is the total amount. Man, this is a crazy number. But hey, I said, I'm going to get it done and what really woke me up to actually paying this debt off was figuring out and seeing how much I was paying in interest on this debt over time. I saw how much they was charging me interest, and I think at one point in time I was paying like over $1,000 in interest, which was insane to me. That's what woke me up. That's really what woke me up and made me realize, yeah, I gotta get out of this debt. Faster I pay this debt off, the less I'll pay in interest. I'm just giving free money away at this point. I also budgeted, seeing how much I was spending each month. Once I figure out my calculations for my expenses of the month, I subtracted that from the amount of money that I made, and I got whatever wiggle room left or whatever extra money that I had left to pay off the rest of my cards. And I figured out how much I was going to allocate to each card based on which one was charging me the highest interest. So I started with the ones that was charging me the highest interest, and I knocked it down from there. Not to mention, this is possible for any one of you guys because during this time frame or throughout this whole year, I didn't work for like at least 3 months. I probably only worked for about 9 months out of the year. I managed to pay off $30,000 in debt. So if that's not showing you that you can do it, like, you can definitely do this. So out of those 9 months, I only went hard for paying off the debt within like the 5 months time frame. Those were the real months that I was actually dedicated to paying off the debt. And that's why I say I paid it off in 5 months, not the 9 months that I was actually working, but the 5 months that I was actually dedicating to paying off the debt. Now, the second step that I would say to help you pay off this debt in the most efficient way possible is to basically live below your means. And I pretty much just named this sacrifice. You're gonna have to make some sacrifices and, you know, give up certain things within your lifestyle because 9 times out of 10, you're probably living above your means. You're probably living a lifestyle that you know you can't afford because you're caring too much about what other people are saying or thinking about you. And you probably have extra expenses you don't necessarily need that you're just paying for no real reason. So what I did was I made a sacrifice. I was living a certain type of lifestyle in Atlanta that I could not afford, and I gave it all up. I was willing to give it all up once I seen that number, seen these crazy amounts of numbers of interest. I was like, yo, like things is getting out of hand. It's not gonna get better unless I make a sacrifice. Now, the last step, it kind of goes hand in hand with this step right here, but I couldn't do it right then and there. So what I need to do was just make a sacrifice, live below my means, give up the things that I didn't need. I ended up giving up my apartment and moving in with my uncle and just working from there. Now, eliminating my apartment expense or the rent that I was paying, I think I was paying about almost or over $2,000 in rent. It's crazy. That's not even including all my other expenses for the month. So, yeah, I think at one point I realized my expenses was over $4,000 a month, and it just was insane. So you can see how things could get out of hand real fast within a few months. So I ended up giving up my apartment, moving in with my uncle. Now what I can do now is take that $2,000 that I was paying in rent or, you know, towards my rent, and I can allocate that towards my cars. I made the sacrifice, gave up my apartment, put everything in storage, and allocated that extra $2,000 towards my cards. Now, this wasn't enough to pay it off in the time frame that I did, but it helped out a lot. I was now, if you want to pay it off in the efficient and the most timely fashion possible, what you're gonna have to do is actually step three. You're gonna have to find a way to increase your income. If you can do these two things, if you can do these three things, if you can create a budget plan, create a plan how you gonna pay this off. Two, if you can make the sacrifice, live below your means, and then three, increase your income, you're gonna be able to pay off whatever amount of debt you have within the snap of a finger. It's that simple. It's that easy. So I found a way to increase my income. I got a better job, made the sacrifice, gave up everything, the lifestyle that I was living, and I created a plan. All these three things in combination, helped me pay off my debt. Because now let's just say I eliminated most of my expenses. Say my expenses was coming up to $4,000. Say I eliminated about $3,000. That's extra $3,000 that I could allocate towards each card. Now, when I do this is negating that interest that I was paying. Every check that I get, a majority of my check is going towards paying off these cards and eliminating the interest factor. So that $1,000 that I'm paying off in interest is slowly going down. Now it's going from $1,000 to like $500, which is still a large number. And the way how I was thinking about it, I'm like, yo, if I'm paying $1,000 interest, I could probably just afford me a luxury car at that point. I might as well just pay a car note for a luxury car. Now, when you start thinking like that, not saying I would do it, but once you start thinking like that, you're like, okay, yeah, I gotta get this out the way because I could have me so much better of a lifestyle. I could have me so much better of a car, and you know, I'm just giving the money away for free at this point, like I said earlier in the video. Now, I know step three doesn't necessarily apply to everybody. I know it's not something that's possible for everybody. It wasn't possible for me at a point. I actually got pretty lucky in the sense that I was able to find the job that I've been wanting to get for 2 years, and I got it, and I increased my income. But if step three isn't possible to you, or isn't something that's attainable to you right now, as far as like increasing your wage, like either by getting a raise or just getting a new job that really increases your income, what you can do is really hone in on steps one and two which is creating a plan. Once you create a plan, you figure out how much money you're paying these people in interest every month, how much your expenses are every month, how much you can afford, whatever extra bit of money you can allocate towards these cards. You're going to be a lot better off as far as knowing. So the problem with a lot of people, they try to just avoid the problem. Like, there's a lot of people that's scared to even open their Credit Karma Experian account to see their credit score. I was never a victim to that. I want to see the problem so I can fix it. I'm that type of person. Now, going into step 2, if you can't necessarily downgrade your lifestyle either by giving up your apartment or whatever the case may be, what you can do is start eliminating costs that you don't necessarily need. They can be subscriptions like Netflix, YouTube TV. There's a whole lot of different expenses and subscriptions that you can honestly get rid of that you just don't necessarily need right then and there. Because the longer you take, like I said, the longer you take to pay this debt off, the more money they're getting out of you. And that's something about that just bothers me personally. And going back to step 1, creating a budget plan isn't necessarily hard. All you have to do, what I did, I just put it in my notes, as you guys gonna see right here. All I did was put it in my notes, seeing how I was spending my money, which, what expenses was what, and how much money I had left over. Even if you don't have any money left over, there's still strategies and ways that you can pay the debt off in a timely manner and timely fashion. I'll create videos on those specific strategies if that's what you guys want. Just leave a like, comment, let me know, and I'll do that for you guys. In-depth descriptions on how you can pay off without no money or no extra money that you're pulling in from the month. Like, let's just say your expenses completely offset the amount of money or the amount of income that you're pulling in per month. There's ways that you can still pay it off. And don't ever think this is impossible. Don't ever think that this is not something you can achieve, that you can do. Paying off $30,000 in credit card debt was insane to me. Like, and it was the biggest sigh of relief when I finally did it. But yeah, it's definitely possible. If any bit of this information was useful to you, or you feel like it's going to be useful to anybody else, go ahead and share this video. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and tune in to the next videos. Without further ado, peace.